Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Mile High Five podcast. I'm Doug Cunnington, and we have our now frequent co-host, Mr. Money Mustache. Pete, how are you today?
Thanks. Spectacular as always, I would say.
Very good. And as always, you bike over, you practice what you preach. You actually biked over here. It's just a couple miles away, but it's a little chilly outside.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of appearing on the Mile High Five podcast is that I get to bike here, and it's like along the bike path, and it's always a sunny morning and puts you in a good mood.
Yeah, very good. Well, today we have breaking news. So there's new direction for the Mr. Money Mustache headquarters, which is the co-working space in Longmont here. And we're going to dig into the actual new direction and some of the shift and maybe opportunities for people to like either get involved. And like, I remember listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast in 2017 before I knew you. And you mentioned how it would be cool to have a community space on Main Street. And then I don't know if you believe in manifesting, but it sounds like you manifested this whole thing. And now we have this great community space. And it's, helped me meet dozens and dozens of people and really shifted my life and probably a lot of other people. But we'll talk about the origin story and how it shifted over time. Cool. So yeah, I guess you told me that there's a new name and you could share it now if you want to, and we can get into some of the details around that. Yeah.
Well, I guess I should say that the basic reason it's changing is, first of all, what a silly name. Anything with Mr. Money Mustache in it, like that's not a good idea. But what we really realized is it's not really a co-working space. Like a few people use it for that, but the majority of the fun comes after hours when we get together to do these special events that we've been having, like everything from like authors talking about their new books, or just like a weekly potluck every Tuesday, or days where we get together to learn how to weld or do projects together, or even just cut down some giant dangerous trees in the back of that building. Those are where all the fun comes from. So we just wanted to rebrand it appropriately and let people know that it's a social club and a community rather than a place where you have to come and work during the day. And I think that will make it more welcoming to more people and just get more people to plan events there. So, and to go with it, we're renaming it because right now it's called MMM HQ Co-working. So we wanted to take co-working out of the name. So initially I wanted to call it FI-Landia in honor of Carl's talk that Carl does fairly often called FI-Landia Does Not Exist. And now we can say FI-Landia does exist. And I wanted to make it sort of like a pretend virtual country. But I got outvoted, and that's actually one of the joys, is now the co-working space is not going to be just me and these few friends kind of deciding. We have like a much bigger committee of members who are full of energy and ideas that are going to make it much more interesting. And after that first talk, they said, well, we don't really like the name FI-Landia. So we had like a little online poll. So the official name is going to be the FI Collective, which kind of makes sense because it's like, a collective of people. But to me, that sounds a little bit too businessy. So I'm still going to call it FI-Landia in protest, or I might also call it not FI-Landia in honor of it not really being called that. So it's going to be like a little online battle. And I think that'll work for me because I want people to be able to have a passport for FI-Landia and for it to be like a fictional country. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm still going to hold on to that a little bit. It's a bit more tongue-in-cheek, especially for the internet version of this, because it's a real physical space in Longmont and there's lots of local people who use it. But then there's other people on the internet who might want to come and visit, and they might want to be citizens of FI-Landia. And for those people, including myself, I want it to be a bit more whimsical.
That makes sense. It does fit with the branding style, but I do like the direction in getting rid of the co-working because I'm a member, but I don't think I really worked there more than maybe like 3 times, and then usually I just end up socializing. And 100%. I mean, you've said it for a few years. It serves more as like a social club, and there have been various activities over time. In fact, Elizabeth, my wife, she's into puzzles, speed puzzling, they call it. She put together a small competition, and I mean, she likes organizing stuff. So she put it together and we held it there because it's a great space for that kind of activity.
Yeah.
The big tables, there's plenty of room, there's a kitchen, there's refreshment. So it was a whole fun thing. So she got it out of her system. So there are events like that people hold over time. And there's nothing keeping members from, throwing a thing that they want to do. So interesting. Are there more changes on the way? Like, do you know where the direction is going exactly?
I think the biggest difference is that there's a lot more people involved and thus a lot more energy. Like now we have about 12 people very actively taking on jobs to make stuff happen, like plan events, help get our finances in order in terms of having more members who are subscribed. Right now we have a lot of people who just kind of use it for free because they say, well, I don't really need coworking, but I like the social events. And we kind of have to like reel those people in a little bit and contribute, because right now Carl and Mindy and Bill and myself are really subsidizing the building so much, and really like everybody enjoys it. So why not just have more members, including people who don't even know about it yet? Because everybody who is a member really loves it, and it's like a big positive part of our lives. Mm-hmm. So just getting more stuff to happen, make it more valuable to everybody and more self-sustaining, all that stuff, I think is part of what we want to do. And then if we have enough of a budget, like it's meant to still be a nonprofit, so any profits would get rolled back into just making it a cooler building, right? Like do more stuff, have more events, fix the place up more, have more amenities. So like it's all a good thing.
Right.
The more people that are involved.
Yeah, and that is the tough thing about blogging about being frugal for many years. It's hard to get folks to cough up the money sometimes, right? Because they're like, oh, am I getting a real value if I can come in for free? How are you guys going to bridge the gap on that? Because it is that's a change of mindset. Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to, for one thing, we're making the monthly membership slightly lower. So it's going to be like a flat. I think we settle on like $49 a month, whereas before it had gone up into like 60 or 70, which is still too low for co-working because you can't afford to run a building. You can only have like 12 people co-working there, but 12 $70 memberships would absolutely like be the biggest money pit in the world to run this building. The building costs us about $4,000 a month or $50,000 a year to operate if you include all the stuff, like the capital cost of it and everything. So more members at a lower price, I think that will make it accessible. And then for the few people who do want to work full-time, we'll invent a new slightly higher price for like the full-time workers. And then we'll also open up yet another tier of membership that's something like $25 a month for people who don't live here, but just want to be like part of the community and visit when they are in town and, organize stuff. So it's almost like a passport to FI-Landia. And it's going to tie in with this whole community of CampFI, where there's people all over the country and even other countries now that get to know each other and they see each other when they're in town. So now they might choose to come and visit FI-Landia headquarters when they're in Colorado. And it's just like a nice vacation destination, and everyone is able to like be friends and help each other out. And that's where the real value comes from. So like we do need this basic small amount of income to keep the building going. But aside from that, the real value is everybody knowing each other and helping each other. Because who doesn't want to know hundreds of successful, motivated, fun people? Like that's definitely worth more than $25 or $50 a month, right? Like unless you have too much fun and good people in your life already. And that is, there's definitely people in that situation.
Right.
But for the rest of us, it's a good value to just make your life better. And even economically, if you're being super frugal and you say like, it has to give a financial return, well, it definitely will, because you're going to get ideas and help and other valuable things and even job opportunities and whatever from knowing these people that exceed the tiny amount that you have to pay to be a subscriber.
So a couple of placeholders. We'll come back to the CampFI mention so we can give the context around that for people that don't understand. However, one side tangent. So you mentioned, and this is something I'm going to bring up in the upcoming episode that we're going to record, but you mentioned people looking at the membership cost as an investment to get an ROI financially.
Right.
And I think that's a poor way to look at things, because you can get returns in other ways. So it could be socially.
Yeah.
Yeah, social. It could be fun. It could be like maybe you hang out with people that are more active and they hike more, so you're going to be healthier.
Yeah.
Like we can get ROI in other areas aside from money.
Yeah.
And I think we're just trained, we had jobs, we made money, we invested, we're involved in the capitalist situation. So it's like we see the value in it, but like at this point, it might not be a great way to look at how we're spending our resources, time, money, whatever.
That's a good point. Like I didn't really mean it in terms of like you write down on a spreadsheet what dollars you're getting back.
But people are going to do that. They're like, do I get $50 per month? And it could be like $50 of friendship per month.
Yeah.
How can you quantify that?
Well, I actually do stuff like that. And this is the part where I'm kind of strange is I make up sort of random estimates that are definitely pulled out of my backside, but at the same time, they help me guide me to the right direction. So one example is some people say, well, my car is a hybrid. I have an old Prius, so it costs me almost nothing to drive it. So why should I bother riding my bike? So I reply to that by saying, well, your bike is making you wealthier by at least $10 a mile, if you want to think of it in money terms, because you become like healthier, you have lower medical expenses, you're more productive, you're going to get better jobs, you're even like better looking, which is like in some subtle way, makes you wealthier in all different ways in life, right? So you don't have to put a dollar figure to everything. And indeed you shouldn't if that's not fun for you. But if you do need to, then just put like really high dollar figures on positive things. And that tricks you into doing the good behaviors, right? Like when I go out for a morning run, I'm like, I love running. It makes me feel healthier, but I'm also like probably $1,000 wealthier every time I go for a run because it's making my life better. How much is my life worth? It's worth millions and millions of dollars, right? So making it even a little bit better has huge value. So it's just kind of a fun way. And it's not even like US dollars. It's just like good dollars. You could call it points if you want.
Maybe FI-Landia dollars.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we need to print up some money. You put your little face on there with an eagle.
Yeah, that's true. The thing about FI-Landia, I love it as a fictional country, is it opens up this whole thing of hilarious things you do. Like you can have a shirt, of course, and a hat, but you can also have a passport, and you can get your passport stamped with like every time you visit FI-Landia, but also every time you visit other FI-friendly things like EconoMe could have it. We could send EconoMe a stamp. So Diana could stamp people's FI-Landia passports.
Right.
And Stephen could stamp them at CampFI, and the Donna could stamp them, Donegans could stamp them at their like Rebel Finance events. So to me, this is all like what I consider fun. And that's why Mr. Money Mustache since the beginning has been like, a fictional money superhero, and there's like a cult and fake religion around it, mustachianism. That just happens to be my idea of a sense of humor. And so I'm trying to keep it going with the FI-Landia.
People like it, but the real name, FI Collective.
Yeah, FI Collective.
Decided. Okay. All right. So back on track, you mentioned CampFI and kind of, what happens? There's an influx of people in July and people hang out. So can you explain that situation and what we observed over the last couple of years, but this year was kind of intense?
Yeah. So I assume many of the listeners of this podcast will know about CampFI, but if not, it's like a rotating series of events that happens all through the US. They go to like northern locations in the summer, southern locations in the winter. So you always have nice weather. And it's a gathering of like roughly 50 to 80 people. And I call it an adult sleepover camp where you hang out, do hikes, meet people. It's loosely arranged around personal finance. And sometimes there's like talks from people who are experts in different aspects, like, it might be taxes or insurance or more fun things like entrepreneurship. And I go there pretty often. Some of the different locations, I've been to the Florida one and the Colorado one I always go to. So in Colorado, it's hosted in Colorado Springs in this really gorgeous like foothills, like sort of resort that's a Franciscan retreat center. So it's like religious based originally, like a Catholic retreat thing, but they let regular heathens like us rent the space as well and enjoy these beautiful grounds with like deer nibbling and, rustic but cool accommodations. And it's become so popular that Stephen, the organizers, had to expand it. So now instead of just happening one weekend, it happens on the weekend. And then he calls it week 1.5, where they do another session for a few days in midweek. And then the following weekend, they have another group of people come. And some people become such super fans that they buy tickets for like all three of them.
Right.
And either way, there's hundreds of people who are circulating through our area of Colorado and meeting each other and having fun. And they go on hikes and extend their vacations to do other stuff. And a lot of them trickle up to here in Longmont and show up at the events that we're hosting during July at the now FI-Landia FI Collective space. So I get to meet a lot of new people, even here in town. And I just really like what's developing there. So it's going to become more of a thing each year, almost like a FI-Palooza. And people are bringing their camper vans and camping out near the parks.
Oh, yeah.
Or booking up all the Airbnbs in the area and staying with us too. Like our friend Carl is known to host a strange number of strangers at their house on the way through.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And like the normal potlucks where there could be like 10 to 20 people on a normal basis, it exploded into 50, more than you could count. It was a huge gathering almost every week during July.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing, a lot of energy there. And I think this comes into play. So you mentioned the people that aren't local, they may be able to get the membership to attend and be a little bit more involved in those. Am I reading between the lines well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I like the idea of that becoming more of an official community where people have a reason to stay in touch throughout the year, and we provide them with a way to do it with our already super active Discord server it's already got hundreds of people on it. So you might as well make it like people who are planning to come, they can make plans together to be here at the same time and all these other things.
Yeah. And what happens, and I know for you must get an email a day, and I know Carl and Mindy and just other folks have people reaching out, but probably twice a month, once a week, something like that, people reach out, hey, I'm coming through Longmont, maybe want to go to the potluck or check something out. And usually I'll point them toward the Discord, because I'm not going to, I don't have the bandwidth or interest to host every single person that comes through here. It's a lot of work, and it wears me out sometimes.
I know, you spend a whole day arranging and coordinating with someone and showing them around. And if you're also trying to run your own local life with your friends and your wife and everything, your dog, then you can't really do that very often. So the best thing is for everybody to have each other instead of just looking to us, because we're like the online people that they've already heard of. But we're not any better than anybody else as a new friend or a tour guide or whatever.
Some may say worse. Yeah. I know I'm trying to downsell myself here, but other people. To Carl. Right. Carl's awesome.
Right.
He's super friendly. He loves talking to people.
Yeah. Some people have more capacity than others, and Carl and Mindy are up at the top of that.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. Okay. I want to go back to the origin story of the FI Collective. We'll call it HQ, shorthand just for this conversation.
It's still going to be a headquarters of sorts.
Very good.
So you can say the HQ.
How did it start? And you've told this story before, so you could accelerate and kind of go through it more quickly as fast as you want to go. But how'd you get the space? And then how did Carl and Mindy and Bill get involved? Yeah.
Well, the funny part was it was just listed on Craigslist. And at the time, I had been thinking of wanting to own a space downtown just because it seems like a nice way to be committed to a small community. I have a place on Main Street and stuff happens there. And it's kind of a vague thing. But once I saw this Craigslist ad, and at the time, my former wife and her couple partners in the crafting community, who were making soap and ceramic stuff, they were interested in being part of it as well. So the four of us, who didn't include Carl and Mindy at the time, decided we would co-own it. So I just bought it from the guy at Craigslist. It was actually an 85-year-old man who'd owned it for decades, and he was happy to unload it. But it was also just rented out to a series of tenants, very low rent. And it was a clothing store, sort of Spanish style clothing for young girls, quinceañera style.
Okay.
That's what was there when I bought it. And then they were just moving out. But the building really wasn't good enough condition. Those guys were making do with not a very good space.
Okay.
So I got to fix it all up. It was 3 of those hugest size of dumpsters of debris and crap that we had to get out of there before I could even renovate it. And throughout 2017, I fixed it up to its current form, which is still rustic, but at least it's, it has functioning plumbing and some nice features and windows and everything like that. And then now we've had it for 8 years, and about in the year 2019, the crafting folks went off and did their own stuff with different spaces, and I wanted new co-owners. So I invited Carl and Mindy because we were good friends at the time, and Carl had already been a member since the beginning. Oh. And then we invited our remote friend, Bill, to also be part of it just because he's an adventurous dude that likes to help invest in stuff.
Okay.
So for these past 6 years now, which is the majority of the time I've owned it, it's been with these new awesome partners, and it's been 100% HQ rather than a split space.
Okay.
And we've all had so much fun doing it. And sometimes it gets to be a bit too much work, but it's still like a lot of reward. So that's why we always check in each year. And that's always a hell yes to continue owning and operating it.
Got it. So what did you envision at first? Like you mentioned, you had kind of a vague idea of like, hey, it'd be cool to have a place on Main Street and you could be like a pillar of the community kind of thing. And it turned into the co-working space. So I'm curious, like what you envisioned early on, maybe when the space opened up and you brought on other partners, what you envisioned then, and then kind of what it shifted into. And you can throw in anything around the pandemic because the time frame kind of lines up. So
yeah, right. I think I always envisioned it being similar to a coffee shop where people just come and go and there's a bit of a vibe there, except for more friendly because you know the people who are there already. So a lot more conversational. And then really just what has happened, except it's been more quiet during the day. Like throughout this whole time, I've always been a little disappointed where I go in there in midday and hoping there'll be a big scene and it's just like a couple people working and they're just quietly have their headphones on and it's not as social as I thought. So I've always struggled with how to get more people out. And what I realized is it has to be not me that's planning the events because I'm busy doing my own thing too. So I want it to be like member organized. It's always meant to be a co-op. And I feel like now with this whole FI-Landia, FI Collective thing, we might have cracked that code because we made it official, like to the members, like this is your space, not ours. We need people to make things happen and like just enjoy it and don't wait for these so-called leaders to make stuff happen.
Interesting. I stick around the house pretty often. Like you said, we're kind of doing our own stuff.
Yeah.
I think we're both creatures of routine. Novelty is good, but like the routine is even better most of the time.
Yep.
And I think I got the vibe, and maybe I asked you about it early on because you gave me the tour and then I joined. Maybe I tried to work there a couple times, but I was like, you know what? I have a home office. It's pretty good. And it's a little bit easier. So I did check with you and I was like, hey, maybe is it cool if I organize a little talk? So I like gave a talk and maybe a dozen people came in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work on my presentation skills and maybe meet some people. And one great way to do it is like to be the hub and the organizer. You don't have to do a talk. But anyway, I got the vibe that you were explaining. So I was like, oh, I could throw my event. So I did that. Other times I have done, this is more my style, to do a happy hour. So I'm like, hey, I'm going in. It's going to be on the early side because we're retired, right? So I'm like, we're doing the happy hour from like 3 to 5 on Friday afternoon. And then I'm getting out of there. And sometimes there's beverages in there. Sometimes you got to bring your own stuff, whatever. But I got the vibe that you were talking about where it's like, if you want something to happen, just plan it. You could do it. Like you have space to use so you can reserve it. And there's a little calendar in there. All that to say, like, it's perfect that you guys are formalizing it. And now it sounds like there will be a committee to perhaps organize more stuff more often.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Now, like I mentioned, the pandemic happened. I don't know if people know, there was a little thing that happened a few years ago.
Era.
I joined maybe a few months ahead of time before March, April of 2020. How did that impact the membership and just like how you guys were running stuff?
For me, the co-working space the HQ was a real positive during the COVID era because we had built up a nice community of people who were local and liked each other's company. So it kept going because we don't have any rules. We weren't controlled by like the school board or whatever other, kind of. So people who wanted to continue hanging out could. And we all just declared ourselves the bubble. How there's that trend back then. We're like, well, your closest friends can be in your bubble, especially because a lot of people, like if they're single and, you're not going to stay at home alone and just watch YouTube for months. So it was a way to still like socialize and have a place to go. It definitely got quieter because more people were staying at home, especially those who were like homeschooling their kids.
Right.
But it was a nice refuge I found during the COVID era. And also having the gym. We have the outdoor gym, and during that era, a lot of the gyms were closing.
Right.
And it's nice to just like still have a place to work out and get out of the house and come somewhere. So I thought it was great. I was annoyed during the whole COVID era because I was like, guys, like I'm very much a numbers guy rather than an emotional guy. And I'm like, I understand exactly what the pandemic is. And some of these behaviors are not rational. Like people would just stay at home, like by themselves, wearing a mask, bleaching their countertops all day with the windows closed and think like they're helping out in that way. Mm-hmm. Like that kind of stuff annoyed me. Mm-hmm. So really like human contact and getting outside and being healthy is like always good for you. And that continues to be good for you during the COVID era. So I'm glad it's over. Let's just put it that way. But the HQ thankfully was a bit less affected than some things.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. So you have a few owners and there's a change of direction. I'm curious, as much as you want to share, we could punt this question. Were you guys sensing like a need to shift to the social club idea? Did you guys have any like conflict? Anything juicy that you could share with us?
Well, we were, for a long time, for years, the members, the owners and I have been talking about, we should be a social club, not a co-working space. But we just kept not bothering because we're all just kind of focused on our own lives. Yeah. And that's the whole problem with HQ. If it has a problem, is that it wasn't getting enough love from its owners because like the Jensens are always traveling and I'm at home doing construction. And if I'm going to be at the co-working space, I prefer to be doing construction with people there and like working on the building. That's my favorite thing to do while I'm there is either like go to a social event or work on the building because it always needs lots of care and upgrades. And that neither of those things were happening enough. So we were thinking, well, what if someone else wants to take it over? So we put out on our Discord channel, hey, does anyone want to just like buy this building at our cost and just take it over? And then you can run it better than us. And then initially that led to fear in the members. They're like, oh no, it's going to close on us. Like they're closing down the co-working space. How do we keep it alive? And then it spawned this really good response, which is like, instead of worrying about closing, instead, let's just make it better as it is. And we're not in a rush to like sell it or anything. We just thought, how can it function better with more energy than is currently going into it? So, and then of course, if nobody had responded and everyone said like, oh, we don't really care about this place anyway, then we might have said, oh, okay, well, let's just see if we can sell it as a normal commercial building to some other person who's going to turn into like a salon or a restaurant or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we would continue the community, but it would just be the events would happen at people's houses.
Right.
But it is cool to have like an actual clubhouse where you can do stuff and there's a cleaning crew to clean up after us, after the events and other things. And it's, a place where you can play loud music, like we should be having our jam days there. Yeah. Because there's no one to complain about the noise because it's already on the noisiest street in Colorado. So you're making it quiet.
Gets loud. Yeah. It gets loud there. Okay. Very, very good. And it makes sense. Like I've talked to you guys about the idea of it's really a social club, but a lot of the activities that need to be done, it looks suspiciously like work and it feels suspiciously like work. So I get why it's like, it's not a good draw if you have something in the rest of the owners. If there's something more fun to do or more just engaging than trying to organize an event. Again, some people love it, but like I think maybe for you too, it's just like, I don't love the coordination and organizing and like RSVPs and
Especially if you're just doing it over and over again and it's just you doing it. Organizing is best spread across multiple people so everyone's fresh and excited about doing it whenever it's their turn.
Yeah. So we laid out, I guess you laid out how things are shifting and changing. And I'm sure some of this is going to be fluid, but if people want to learn more, if they want to see if it's a good fit for them, where should they go? And what else do you have to tell us about the rebranding?
Well, I'm definitely going to share stuff in a blog post, and I think Carl's going to do the same. We also have an Instagram account, which is currently called MMMHQ Coworking. It's going to come back to life soon because we have a new person that's going to take it over officially, which I think is fun as our social media guru. And I think we'll just like change the name on that account eventually, but you can still follow it. And then if you're a follower, you'll transition over to its new name. So Perfect. That might be a good place to do. Yeah, I think that's going to be our official low-key PR channel.
Okay, very good. And then there has been a URL landing page on your website. You have a small blog that you've been working on a little while, and there is information there. And I assume that will probably redirect to a different name, and then the proper information will come up, and then people should follow your blog because that's where they'll be able to learn about it probably first, right?
Yeah, right. And the page that's there right now is mrmoneymustache.com/HQ. So I'll keep that same URL and I'll just put the new information. And a lot of it will still be the same, right? It's still the same place. It's still going to have an outdoor gym. It's still going to have events and a community. It's just going to be more of what it was before.
Very good. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing this stuff here. I'm excited. I was one of the people that was a little nervous that it might go away in the format that it is. And as a member, I'm really happy that it's sticking around, and it sounds like it's going to be like even more engagement and more things going on, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah. And it's like, you don't have to do any more because you're already pretty active in our community anyway. So for you, it might not feel all that different. You'll just have more options of things to attend.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Thanks for listening to the show. That was the Mile High FI podcast, and I'm Doug Cunnington. If you dig the show, please do 3 things for us. Number 1, tell a friend, a family member, an enemy about the show. We really don't care who you tell. Maybe forward them a specific show that you know that they will like. It's the single most helpful thing that you can do to spread the word. It's like giving us a virtual high five, and actually we don't give high fives in person, so the virtual kind's pretty good. And more importantly, your friend or family member or even your enemy will appreciate the fact that you were thinking of them. Number 2, make sure you're following or subscribed on your podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, YouTube, whatever you're using, and that way you won't miss a show. And number 3, please leave us a rating and review. We read them on the show occasionally, and you might hear yours out there on an upcoming episode. Quick disclaimer. This show is not financial or legal advice. I'd actually be surprised if it sounded like it. It's really just for entertainment, and that's at least what we're hoping for. But seriously, get advice from professionals. So we'll catch y'all next week. So Pete, we had the opportunity to jam together. You played bass, I played guitar, and our friend Tyler, he was on drums, and it was a blast. I felt like we actually gelled pretty well for the first time that we played together.
Yeah.
So yeah, what did you think the same thing? Please don't disappoint me.
Oh, I believe we were quite rocking. There would be several moments in there where people would have been walking by and thought, oh yeah, those guys are good. And even though we hadn't practiced any of our songs. And I think part of the key was first of all, you're way better on the guitar than you give yourself credit for. You're quite the rocker. Your audience needs to know this. These guitars are not just for podcast decor.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tyler is also an epic drummer. I didn't realize, I thought it was just going to be like me where I'm just a garage band drummer, but he's the drumsticks are everywhere. And the only downside of that is he plays extremely loud. So we had to have the most powerful ear protection in order to just remain alive during that jam session.
Yeah. Yeah. Super loud, which is obviously it's part of the fun. And we've been going to this place called the Drum Box, and it's like an old ATM kiosk situation in a parking lot. So it's commercial and it's right by the road. And basically there's no neighbors. So you can be insanely loud. If we had I don't know what the decibel meter things are called. There must be a special name for that.
I think it's called a decibel meter.
The decibel meter. The decimeter.
It would be 100 or more.
Yeah. I mean, it's super loud, but I mean, you kind of have to do that. It is so much fun. So I hope we could do it again soon. And it's been too long. I know we ended up traveling and being on the road. We had trips planned, all good fun stuff, but it pulled us out of our normal routine and the times where we're like, okay, I mean, there's only 3 of us, so we don't have to coordinate super closely, but between the 3 of us, there's always something going on.
Until we get the full gospel choir, then it's going to be a lot of folks that have to coordinate with us.
Yeah. And do you play much when you're not jamming? Do you practice? Do you have any kind of routine or anything?
I could use such a thing. Right now, I only play the bass when there's something happening around it. So right now we're entering the season where our annual HQ Christmas party, which features live bands that are just like us.
Oh, right.
That's sort of a talent show. And last year I was playing every day for a couple months to prepare for that. And that was really fun. And I thought I should do this all the time. Of course I didn't, but now it's time to start again. So it's going to help both our opportunities for playing music together because I'm the one that needs the most practice out of the three of us, because I'm like the most, self-taught, non-professional musician. But it's going to be fun for everybody to just play more often.
Yeah. And there's something I talk about, like the flow state occasionally, and like when we lose track of time and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's a time warp in the drum box for me. So like we walk in, and then I feel like I blink and turn around, and then 3 hours it just flies by.
Wow, that's a good sign.
Yeah, so fun. And I appreciate, like, I feel like I have so much work to do on the guitar, but I appreciate you saying, like, it sounded fine. And actually, even in podcasting or other communication, a lot of things are just staying out of the way so other things can happen. And yeah, you and Tyler had a great groove in the rhythm section. And I was like, oh, this is awesome what you're doing. And I would try to come in and play along. And there's a lot of give and take. It was fun.
Yeah, I think that's the whole definition of a band that's fun to be in. A jam band is like, you don't have to sound good to other people who are listening necessarily, but you have to understand what each other's doing and be like, oh yeah, let's lean into that part. And so you have to have like an ear and a groove in your soul that aligns with the other person, like what you think sounds good. And then that's a recipe for the flow, and eventually leading to good songs, like even creating your own songs, is they have to come out of your soul, not like sheet music or, some instructions.
And I think we could do a whole episode on this, but we have other stuff to cover. But quick follow-up question for the Christmas recital at HQ. Mm-hmm. Are you playing anything? Are you guys rehearsing this year?
Yeah. So our same 3-piece jazz band has reconstituted, led by our illustrious piano player, Carla. And she just has me as the bass player and Brian as the drummer. We got some of the songs from last year, and we're adding a couple new numbers. And we're also trying to bring in this guy, Paul, from the co-working space, who's a great singer. And because there's a song that I've recently got into that I think I was imagining his voice singing it. And if we could put that together, and so far Paul is like a maybe, he's maybe willing to join us for that. Yeah. That'll be a huge treat if we can do that song.
Yeah. And he sang something last year. Yeah. And it was absolutely amazing. The guy can he could do
musical theater.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the style of the song he sang was like this belting out like high, like great sharp high notes and everything. He was really good.
It's like a pro. I was like, what? What is even going on?
Yeah. So I would love to have him like with us in the band.
That'll be amazing. And Elizabeth and I have been working on a bluegrass tune. So she plays the banjo and I'm flat picking, and we've been working pretty hard on it. And the thing is, like, this music recital, it started small, and shout out to Robert and Carla, who hosted for a couple of years. And then when it went to HQ, it went from maybe like 15 or 20 people to like, how many people do you think? There was like 75 people or something like that?
Yeah, the place was full of audience, and it was like a party, not just, it wasn't just about watching people play music. That was just one of the events of the day. But we ended up having 16 different acts, each groups coming on to play a song each, and some of them were just pure silliness, which is awesome. Yeah. And then there's bands in the middle, like ours was, and then there was some super epic, talented ones where you're like, holy shit, where did this guy come from? And it's just like you're watching something that you are in like the Denver Performing Arts Center. You expect
little variety show. All that to say, the nerve, because I'm not a performer, so the nerves were a little high, and you sweat. I mean, I'm getting nervous thinking about it now. It's one of those things I assume, like with the practice, it goes away. And
I had a high moment on that because like I'd never played in front of an audience before. And so to play a part, and I had like this little attempt at a bass solo in one of the songs.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, like I finished a song, do, and then everyone cheers. And I was like, whoa, what a feeling. Yeah. Like I still remember it now. I could totally see why that gets addictive to real musicians, because they're cheering for you all the time and appreciating your tunes. And wow.
You're a real musician too.
I am inside. I just got to get it out to my fingers.